When you connect to your ACI environment, you're going to connect your spines to your leaves and your leaves to your spines. You don't connect spines to each other and you don't connect leaves to each other. Then you're going to plug in your APIC controllers so that they're redundantly connected to the network. In this case, you can see that I've connected this APIC to 2 of my leaves. It's a best practice to diversify and connect the controllers across multiple pairs of leaves. Once we do that, we can connect to the controllers for the first time and start the discovery process. This is a zero-touch fabric, which means that we really don't have to do any configuration of the switches in the environment. The controller does it all for us. From the controller, we start the discovery process by exchanging LLDP information with the switch that it's connected to. We learned about LLDP in our DCICN course, and the fact that it's a discovery protocol that helps us determine what switches and what devices are connected to each other on the fabric. So in the discovery process, the APIC is actually going to reach out to the device it's connected to, and in this case, it's going to be the first leaf that it sees. When we find that device, we're going to have to give it a name and a number and make it part of the fabric. So in this case, we will give this device the number 101, and we may call it leaf 101. From that point on, we're going to discover the next device that's connected to it, and in this case, it's the spine. So we're going to give the spine a number, for instance 201, and we may give that a name such as spine 201. The process continues on from that point to discover the leaves that are attached to that spine. So for instance, I may discover the next 2 leaves in the architecture and give those names such as 102, leaf 102 and a number 102, and leaf 103 and number 103. And then finally, I'll see the last spine and I'll give that a number and a name as well, such as 202. Let's go take a look at what this looks like in the actual administrative console. Here you can see that I've connected to my APIC controller over HTTPS by putting in the IP address of my controller, and it asks me for a username and password. This username and password is the username admin and the password that I set up when I first configured the controllers, as we discussed in the last lesson 9.1. When you first log into the device, it's going to bring you to the Fabric tab. And in my case, the Fabric tab, or the topology, is already filled out because I've already discovered my devices. You won't see as much information here yet because we haven't discovered the devices in a new system. In order to discover the devices, we want to go to the Fabric Membership tab. And in the Fabric Membership tab right now, I can see all of the devices that I've discovered. But as we discussed on the whiteboard, the very first device I'll actually see, for instance, would be this leaf down here. So I'll only see 1. I won't see the 4 that are depicted here from the start. And for me to add this device to the network is as simple as double-clicking on it, giving it a number, giving it a name, and saying update. The device then creates a secure connection to the leaf and actually does all the configuration for you. It does all the layer 3 configuration, it does all the layer 2 configuration, it assigns it an IP address on the network, it adds it to the topology, it starts pulling event information from it, and as you update and add additional leaves and spines during the discovery process, the system will continue to configure those devices, and as you can see, the system is automatically documenting the topology of the network. So we see how all the devices are connected to each other, and we see which devices the different APIC controllers are connected to. You won't actually see the other 2 APIC controllers until the topology has been fully formed in this environment. Please join us for our next lesson, 9.3, Understanding the Firmware Upgrade Process.